You think you know exactly when your dog is stressed. They tremble, they hide under the bed, or they tuck their tail firmly between their legs. But those are the final warning signs. By the time your dog is doing that, they are already in a state of sheer panic. Long before a dog breaks down, they send out microscopic distress signals, subtle behavioral shifts that 99% of dog owners completely ignore. And sometimes, these invisible signs aren't just about fear. They are silent cries for help, hiding deep, chronic physical discomfort. Dogs are masters at masking pain, and their bodies tell the truth long before they ever whimper or limp. Today, we are exposing the 5 micro signals of dog anxiety you are missing every single day, and why noticing them could literally save your dog's life.
Let us start with micro signal number 1, the empty lip lick. We all know dogs lick their lips when they are staring at a piece of steak or right after eating a delicious meal. That is a normal anticipatory response. But what if your dog is sitting in the living room, no food in sight, and suddenly flicks their tongue over their nose? In the world of canine body language, this is known as a pacifying behavior. When a dog experiences a sudden spike in cortisol, the stress hormone, their autonomic nervous system kicks into gear. This mild anxiety causes their mouth to become dry, prompting a quick, involuntary tongue flick. You will often see this when you lean over them too quickly, when a stranger stares at them directly, or when you pull out the camera for a photo. It is their brain's way of saying, "I am slightly uncomfortable with this interaction. Please give me some space." Ignoring this tiny signal forces the dog to escalate to louder warnings, like a growl.
Micro signal number 2 is the stress yawn. Much like lip licking, context is absolutely everything here. If your dog just woke up from a 3-hour nap on the couch and stretches with a big yawn, they're just waking up. But a stress yawn looks and sounds entirely different. A stress yawn is usually much wider, more intense, and it often happens completely out of context. You might be at a crowded park or at the vet's office, and your dog suddenly starts yawning repeatedly. Why do they do this? When a dog is anxious, their heart rate increases and their breathing becomes shallow. A massive, forced yawn draws a huge amount of oxygen into the bloodstream, sending a rapid cooling effect to the brain. It is a literal biological reset button. Furthermore, stress yawns are often accompanied by a high-pitched squeak or a tense facial expression. If your dog is yawning while strangers are trying to pet them, they are not tired. They are desperately trying to self-soothe.
This brings us to micro signal number 3, and this is the most critical one on our list: pacing and the inability to settle. Many owners mistake this for a psychological issue, thinking their dog just has too much energy or generalized anxiety. They will watch their dog wander from the dog bed to the rug to the hardwood floor, panting slightly, unable to get comfortable. But here is the heartbreaking truth that veterinarians wish every owner knew. This constant pacing is frequently the very first sign of undocumented chronic pain, specifically joint pain, osteoarthritis, or gastrointestinal distress. Because dogs are descended from wolves, their evolutionary instinct is to never show weakness to predators. They will not cry out in pain until it is unbearable. Instead, they just cannot find a position that does not hurt. If your older dog suddenly becomes restless at night, constantly shifting weight, or panting when the room is cool, do not just assume they are anxious. Their joints might be screaming in pain. This behavioral shift is a massive red flag that warrants an immediate veterinary evaluation, not just more exercise.
Micro signal number 4 is called the whale eye. If you watched our previous video on the myth of the guilty dog face, you already know a little bit about this. A dog's eyes can tell you everything about their internal emotional state. The whale eye happens when a dog turns their head slightly away from whatever is causing them stress, but keeps their eyes locked onto the threat. Because their head is turned but their gaze is fixed, the sclera, the white part of the eye, becomes highly visible in a half-moon shape. Dogs do this because direct, hard eye contact is a challenge in the canine world. By turning their head away, they are trying to offer an appeasement signal, essentially saying, "I do not want any trouble." But by keeping their eyes on you, they are confirming that they feel threatened. If you see the white of your dog's eyes when hugging them or taking away a toy, back off immediately.
Finally, we arrive at microsignal number 5, sudden shedding, also known as blowing their coat. Have you ever taken your dog to the vet, and by the time you leave the exam room, it looks like a snowstorm of fur has exploded all over the floor and the doctor's scrubs? You might think they are just due for a brushing, but this is actually a profound physiological response to acute anxiety. When a dog is intensely stressed or terrified, their sympathetic nervous system floods their body with adrenaline. This causes a reaction called piloerection, the same mechanism that causes the hair on their back to stand up to make them look bigger to a threat. The intense flexing of these tiny muscles in the skin literally forces loose hair out of the follicles all at once. So, if your dog suddenly leaves a massive pile of fur on the floor of a new environment, they are not just shedding. Their body is having a physical reaction to a highly stressful situation.
Our dogs cannot speak to us with words, but they are constantly talking to us through their bodies. The problem is not that they are poor communicators. The problem is that we are often poor listeners. By paying attention to the empty lip lick, the stress yawn, the inability to settle, the whale eye, and sudden shedding, you become your dog's greatest advocate. Remember, if you start noticing these microsignals frequently, especially the pacing and restlessness, please consult your veterinarian. Pain management can completely transform an anxious dog back into a relaxed, happy companion. If you found this deep dive into canine body language helpful, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with a fellow dog lover. Have you ever noticed your dog doing any of these 5 things? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next one.